This is episode number 215. Right now, online, somebody is killing his business. It may be you. Is it? We're going to find out.
This is the Red Podcast, the marketing podcast for influencers. Rise above the noise. Expand your audience. Deliver impact. Here's your host, David Hooper.
Lots of feedback about the last episode of Red Podcast, episode 214. Thank you for your well wishes. If you didn't hear that episode, I talked about a head-on crash that I was in. That crash totaled my car, which happened to be a Subaru Outback. I turned on NPR this week, and they were talking about Subaru. Here's how they described the brand.
It's granola, it's 10,000 Maniacs, it's crunchy, it's hippie, it's a professor in a tweed jacket.
I knew this. Everybody knows it, right? In fact, on the last episode, I talked about if you go to Colorado, you see Subaru everywhere. But they also let me onto something that I didn't know.
All my friends that own Subarus are lesbians.
If you're into niche marketing, this is definitely a story worth checking out. For over a decade, Subaru marketed to lesbians using what I call insider language. These were messages, jokes, things that lesbians got, but mainstream America just passed right over. That's how I had no idea about it. I thought it was a complete coincidence that my lesbian massage therapist drove a Subaru. Not so. That car was made for her. Check this out. This is one of the ads that they ran.
There's a Subaru up at the top, right? And there's two women down at the bottom. And the headline is, "It loves camping, dogs, and long-term commitment. Too bad it's only a car."
That is brilliant. Now, they no longer do that campaign. I think that they should. So I've come up with a few ads myself. I actually ran these ideas by a real-life, honest-to-God lesbian. I had a one-woman focus group. At the end of this episode, you'll hear that conversation and what she thought about my ads. I'm trying to get Subaru to give me a free car. Give me an upgrade from the 1999 Nissan Altima. For the complete backstory on why I'm driving that car, the wreck, everything involved with this story, redpodcast.com/214 will fill you in. This is the Red Podcast, the podcast for influencers. If you're a blogger, podcaster, speaker, marketer, nonfiction author, or entrepreneur, you're somebody with a message to spread, and you want to make people care about that message, this is the podcast for you. Red Podcast shows you how to do just that. Take your message, spread it, and make a name for yourself. And as a bonus, you're going to make money while you do it. Talk about book publishing, podcasting, speaking, and other marketing elements of your business that you must master. To do all this, you're going to grow and engage your audience. That's what RED stands for: reach, expand, and develop your audience. You know, one of the best ways to do that, mailing list, email marketing is still the number one tool of online marketers to drive traffic anywhere. That means if you're launching a new podcast, coming out with a new book, doing whatever you're doing online, you need an email list. How do you do that? Get the kit, ConvertKit. Go to getconvertkit.com right now. You'll be able to try ConvertKit free for 30 days. Check it out. Move your list over there. See the tools that you can use. You can segment your list in any number of ways so you can go directly to the people that care about what it is that you have to offer and avoid those kick the tires people that are just on your list taking up space. You'll love the tools available at ConvertKit. Go to getconvertkit.com to get your free 30-day trial today. If you ask Taylor Swift what she thinks about the current election, this is what she'll say. She'll say nothing. Why is that? That's because Taylor Swift is not an idiot. She knows that if she says anything, she's going to piss off half her fans. And pissing off half her fans going to cost her a lot of money. Nobody is immune from this. Even if you're known to be conservative, even if you're known to be Christian, doesn't matter. Every time you open your mouth about a hot issue, whether it be stem cells, abortion, the Gaza Strip, gay marriage, climate change, anything, you're repelling some of your audience. Knowing this, you have to ask yourself, is letting your opinion be heard worth the price that you'll pay? If it is, keep talking. But if not, be like Taylor Swift and keep your mouth shut. As an influencer, This absolutely applies to you. Let me set this up for you. About the time of the last election, I hired a guy to help me with a marketing project. This is a well-known guy. You've heard of him if you're online. I respect his opinion, and I wanted to get another set of eyeballs on this project that I was working on. This guy's known to be conservative. He's known to be religious. And by religious, in his case, Christian. The stuff that you see, stuff that he's promoting, it's fairly stereotypical. Big family, good work-life balance. He's got a testimony of how he came to Jesus. And because of this, the subject of politics came up. Again, we're in an election season. And I asked him, how do you balance this? This is part of what you're selling. You're selling this Christian lifestyle. You're selling work-life balance. You're a conservative person appealing to a conservative audience. But how do you balance it? Because when politics comes up, everybody's got an opinion. Do you jump in? And his advice, absolutely don't jump in. Stay out of it. So fast forward to today. We're in another election season. People are more divisive than ever. Last week, BuzzFeed released a study, and I'm going to paraphrase this. They looked at the top political properties on the internet. They took the top 3 from the left or liberal side, and they took the top 3 from the right or conservative side. And what they found was that among the conservative sites, 39% of what was being posted on Facebook, on social media, was total bullshit. Not a bit of truth to it. 39%. And among the top 3 liberal sites that they looked at, 19% total bullshit. And these things get passed around and passed around and passed around. And you add that to what your friends are posting, to what your racist relatives are posting, to what your relatives in the city are posting, to what your relatives in the country are posting. Plus, we've got a reality TV star running for president, and we've got a lifelong public servant. She's been in the game for 50 years. She's got a lot of dirt on her hands. The guy that I mentioned, the guy that told me to stay out of it, even he's jumping in. He cannot help himself. Hillary's a baby killer. Trump's a rapist. Benghazi. Email servers. Sexual harassment. We're hearing all sorts of things every day, every time you turn on the computer, every time you talk to somebody at your office, every time you talk to your family, and everybody's got an opinion. You can't blame the guy for jumping in. I get it. This election has a ton of people on edge. But that takes me back to my earlier question. Should you do it? Here's a reason why not to jump in. One, because we live in an echo chamber. Social media doesn't change any opinion. Adding your thoughts to it is pure ego. Now, I've seen a lot of people, they try to play it safe, and there is absolutely no medium ground here. If you say anything, you're losing 50% of your audience. And people will try to fool themselves. They'll try to play it safe. That is not possible. Sometimes they'll make both candidates sound like they're bad. The baby killer versus the rapist. Or they go for a bigger picture. Like, I don't like blank, but I'm concerned about the Supreme Court. Or they'll say they're not voting. Or they'll have a nihilistic viewpoint where everything sucks and we're fucked. Or they'll try to joke around about it. And the people who think it's serious, they get pissed off. Even related stuff is going to make people mad. After the second debate, remember Ken Bone? Had a red sweater. Kind of looked like his mom dressed him. He was in the audience, was undecided. He asked a question about energy. After he did that, the internet blew up. People loved Ken Bone. Ken Bone came out with a line of t-shirts, sold over 3,000 the last time that I checked. Uber, the ride-sharing service, they offered him an endorsement to launch a new city. He even got an offer to do an adult movie, The Bone Zone, for $100,000. So I posted something on my Facebook about this, a link to an article about him with the caption, "A great example of saying yes to opportunity." This is the same thing that's going to happen to you. Someday, you're going to have an opportunity. You've got to jump on it quickly for it to happen. Ken Bone had that, and he went with it. It was a simple, and I thought, non-political example of somebody saying yes to opportunity. Within a few minutes, I got a response. I'm not a fan. He's not for Trump. Just another fat guy wearing a sweater from the 70s. This guy made it political. We're making non-political stuff political. We are so agitated about this election. You can't win. Hold that thought. I want you to think about that guy, a Trump fan, and I want you to think about a Hillary supporter. In fact, let's just go ahead and divide America up into two different sides. We've got the liberal side and we've got the conservative side. If you ask the people who are really into Trump about the election, and if you ask the people who are really into Hillary about the election, you're going to get the same answer. My side is going to win. And they're going to have variations of that. The media is biased. They don't know what's going on. I know what's going on. Why would people feel that way? And the reason they would feel that way, and this is very important to you as a business owner, somebody who's trying to influence people, is because we are isolated. We live in silos. Now, sometimes that's geographic isolation. We've got urban areas. We've got suburban areas. We've got rural areas. And within those areas, what do we have? We've got white neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, rich neighborhoods, poor neighborhoods, Hispanic neighborhoods, foreign refugee neighborhoods. I was out in a suburb of Nashville a couple of weeks, probably the richest county in all of Tennessee. All white guys. Even the staff was white. That's how they live. That's how most people live. White, black, rich, poor. And this is how you get the result of the day after an election, people not believing that half the country could feel differently. They started that meeting with a prayer that was completely normal to them. You come into the city, into Nashville, where I am, no way in hell. And we're the buckle of the Bible Belt. No way. That's because everybody is not just like you. I want you to imagine how being this out of touch is affecting your business. That's why I'm bringing this up. You know, Trump wants to build a wall. That is exactly what we're doing with the silos that we're living in. And because we don't have that geographic isolation online, and because we don't have the economic isolation online, we do things in other ways, like block the people that don't agree with us. Think about the guy who posted about Ken Bone. I said, I don't care what he has to say because he's not supporting Trump. He's not listening to that guy. So then what happens? How it plays out is that we block the people who don't agree with us. Seen these anti-Trump apps? It's actually pretty funny to me. Every time it sees the word Trump, it says, your drunk uncle. So instead of Trump wants to deport Mexicans, it says, your drunk uncle wants to deport Mexicans. And instead of another woman comes forward to accuse Trump of sexual harassment, it says another woman comes forward to accuse your drunk uncle of sexual harassment. Pretty funny, right? And there are versions for Hillary, changing her name to Killary. They've got browser extensions. They've got Facebook add-ons to unfriend people who like Trump or unfriend people who like Hillary. And that's the irony. A lot of left-wing people who would never, ever want a wall between the U.S. and Mexico would never, ever want to have the strict regulations that he's imposing on bringing new people into this country. We're doing it ourselves. We're creating our own little world online. This is also what cults do, by the way. Don't like what somebody else has to say? Ignore it. And tell the people within the cult to ignore the outside world. So here's what I want you to do about this, because this is affecting your business. If you find yourself building your own version of a wall, not listening to people who might have a different opinion than you, avoid blocking people. I want you to think of it like this. I want you to think about putting up an anti-wall. Every time somebody comes through that anti-wall, you get better. You get more in touch. This gives you a superpower. You're able to understand where they're coming from, what they want from you specifically, and you're able to give them that. Now, you can go beyond this. If you're liberal, turn on Fox. Listen to Hannity, Limbaugh, O'Reilly. I'm liberal. I actually love Limbaugh. He's a fantastic radio host. There's a lot that you can learn from him, even if you're like me, even if you're liberal, because he's very entertaining. I've actually done a full episode on Rush Limbaugh. Got some old tapes from the 70s where he's playing music before he got into talk radio. If you're interested in that, go to the episode notes, redpodcast.com/215. I'll have everything linked there. You can listen to somebody that you don't agree with. You can also buy food from them. You're a conservative Christian, been hanging out at Chick-fil-A? Go to a taco stand. Meet the people there. That's not going to kill you. Bottom line is this. People of all types can benefit from your message. Do not block them. When you block them, you're not able to communicate with them. You're living in your own world, and the rest of the world is passing you by. I do not want to see that happen to you. Next episode, I'm going to talk about why being everywhere is bullshit. Seen these gurus online, be everywhere, be everywhere. You got to be everywhere. No, you don't. I'll be explaining it why on the next episode. To make sure that you don't miss it, go to redpodcast.com. One click is all it takes to subscribe. It doesn't matter if you listen to podcasts on an iPhone, Android, via the web. However you get your podcast, I will make sure you never miss an episode of Red. Redpodcast.com to do that. If you've got questions, you've got comments, you want to reach out to me, Twitter is the best way to do it. At David Hooper on Twitter gets me. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the next episode, Red Podcast.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, the marketing podcast for influencers. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now with your iPhone, Android, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.
We're going.
Excellent.
You are going to be the voice of lesbians everywhere.
Okay.
I'm going to run some things by you just to see if I'm on the right path.
Okay.
You will be anonymous unless you want to be known otherwise.
That's fine.
So if there is one car that lesbians drive, what would it be?
Definitely a Subaru.
Okay. Do you know what happened to my Subaru? Have we had this discussion?
No. What happened to your Subaru?
Well, I was driving a Subaru Outback. I had no idea that it was the lesbian transportation of choice.
Uh-huh.
Head-on collision. And it was totaled.
Oh, man.
Now I'm driving a 1999 Nissan Altima.
Are you serious? I had one of those.
Did you?
I had a 1999 Nissan Altima for 10 years.
I'm in another lesbian car then, I guess.
Well, I don't think so. I think So, yeah, that's definitely the Outback is the car that comes to mind first and foremost. Do you want like a number 2?
No. This is exactly
Okay.
where I'm going because I've got some ideas here. So here are my slogans.
Okay.
Just highlighting the roominess. Subaru. Who needs a U-Haul?
Okay. Everybody would get that for sure.
All right. Second date, right?
Yep.
Okay. Scene of 2 women camping.
Okay.
Subaru in the background. The slogan, the perfect car for eating out.
I like that.
Do you?
I do.
Okay. All right.
I do. Actually, that appeals to me more than the first one. The first one's funny, but it's warm, and it's like that's what I want, that kind of situation.
Okay. Well, how about this one? This is another one you might like. This one highlights the all-wheel drive.
Okay.
The wetter, the better.
That'd be great. Can't go wrong with that one, David.
Thank you for participating in my one-woman lesbian focus group. I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye, David.